Following in the noble tradition of Polish fantasy games having card-playing mini-games, Black Book has its own minigame called Durak. Now you might be saying, Black Book is already a card game. Why would I be interested in a card game minigame? This one played with just a normal set of playing cards. Well, there are going to be plenty of opportunities to gamble away games of cards against other characters in the game and even evil spirits later on in your adventure. So being sure that you have this ace direct game to be able to win those story encounters is going to be really useful. The game plays out pretty differently than most Western card games, so it can be kind of difficult to be able to wrap your head around what you need to do to win. Let's break down what it takes to become an expert Durak player. We're going to go back to a tutorial game where I break down all the rules of Durak and some of the strategy that goes into managing your hand. And then we're going to come back here. I'm going to talk through the entire game and how I think about it. And then we are going to cover a game of three-handed Durak, which gets a lot more chaotic, but can still follow the same principles to be able to win. Here in Durak, the objective is really simple. Play all of your cards before your opponent does. But that objective is a long way off from the beginning of the game because you are going to keep on refilling your hand to 6 cards as long as there are cards in the deck. The deck is comprised of ace down through 6, so 5, 4, 3, and 2 have all been removed. This might make it seem that exchanges in the middle game are actually meaningless because you are just going to be drawing your cards back and forth, but that is not really the case. What you are doing throughout the course of the early and mid game is curating your hand so that you have the best hand possible when the deck runs out and it comes down to just those final cards to play. Play goes back and forth with one player attacking and one player defending. So the person who attacks gets to lead with a card. If they have matches of that card's value, they can play those and attack all together. And then the defender has to block those cards either with a card of the same suit but a higher value, or a trump card, and trump is determined over here by flipping over the bottom card of the deck, so that suit is trump, and those cards can be played to block any cards regardless of value. Of course, if someone attacks with a trump card, then you have to beat it with a higher trump card. Once cards are in play, then the attacker is able to match any card that has already been played. So that's why when you lead, say Nikolai led here with the 6, if he had multiple 6s, he would be able to play them all down. And then I blocked with an 8. Nikolai also had an 8, and he is able to add that on to his attack as well. Thankfully, we have a blocker here. After a successful block, the initiative goes over to us, so now we get to attack. If we had been unable to block that 8, then we would have had to pick up all the cards on the table, and Nikolai would have kept on attacking. This goes back and forth until the game is over. Unfortunately, in the game, you are not able to see the exact number of cards left in the deck, which is really crucial information for being able to plan out those crucial final few turns, especially because the attacker is the one who refills their hand first. And so, if you have attacked and then your opponent has successfully blocked and then you are drawing, there are plenty of times where you are going to draw into a full hand of cards. They are not, and they also have the initiative to begin attacking, giving them a significant hand size advantage on you in those final turns. So the best that you can do is kind of watch the animation over here on the corner to see how tall the deck is, and also watch the turn meter over here. In a two-handed game, around turn 10 to 12, the deck is about to run out. You're actually not sure when exactly it is going to run out because when cards are blocked, they're just discarded. But when cards are not blocked, they are picked up, which means that fewer cards are being drawn. So it is not consistently the same turn every time when the deck is going to run out, because the cards that get picked up get recycled and replayed, because now cards that I picked up, I can then play against Nikolai, so it drags the game out if a lot of cards are being picked up. Now, there are some situations where you actually don't want to block your opponent's cards because picking them up is going to strengthen your hand. Like I said, the strategy here is curating the strongest hand you can possibly have for the very end of the game. Now, here at turn 9, it is a little bit late in the game, so it's kind of dangerous to be picking up a lot of cards, but Nikolai has laid down 3 aces. How can I pass this up? Especially when I am holding another crucial card, the ace in the trump suit. So this is the highest card in the game. Very important to try and pick that card up and hold it until the very end of the game because it gives you so much flexibility in the final few turns. Now that Nikolai has given us an incredible foundation for our hand, we see that the deck has run out. There's only a single card remaining. This is the card that designates Trump. It actually is not removed from the game. It is going to be the last card drawn, and you know what it is. It's going to be going to Nikolai here, because he at 5 cards is going to redraw up to 6, and we, after blocking this, are not going to have a chance to thin our hand any farther. We're only worried if Nikolai really depletes his hand here. So here, we have successfully blocked. He draws the final card. He has 5 cards to our 7, which would normally feel like it is putting us into a bad situation. But au contraire, we have so many trump cards and this whole set of aces that we can use to attack with all together that we should be able to work this battle out. We're going to hand all of those aces over to Nikolai. Now it is our turn to attack again. This is where we want to drop our loser non-trump card. Playing it out there, and we can additionally play out the jack because it matches the pair of jacks to attack. Nikolai, of course, is able to successfully defend, especially with all the cards that we gave him. But with a final trump card that can be played against any card he uses, we are able to easily go out and pass him there in the final turns. Tutorial game is over, and we are squaring off against Old Igor, who is a vicious opponent because Black Book adds a video game element here. Playing against witches and spirits are able to cheat. They can change cards that they have into trump cards. So you're going to see situations where there's going to be multiple aces of the trump suit that can really mix things up and give the player that is creating those extra trump cards a significant advantage. They can still be beaten though, and you actually can, depending on how you choose to level up, take those same skills. Starting out here, the trump is hearts, and we have no hearts. So we are kind of sad, but we do have some nice pair of kings to be able to start us out here. He lays down a heart very quickly, so this is actually going to be something that we're going to want to take. If Igor is going to lay down trump cards, we are more than happy to pick them back up. Then we'll just block here to kind of get rid of our non-trump cards, and we want to drop our lower cards as well, just to be able to lose those singleton losers, work those out of the deck. A low card is not necessarily bad if it still demands a higher card, one of the really strong face cards to successfully block it. So like there, we were able to account for one of Igor's face cards, even though our card was not necessarily very strong. He's just led with another trump card. We'll take that. You can kind of abuse the AI, I have found, in that they will often attack with trump, and especially early in the game, you're going to have plenty of time to be able to balance out your hand size against them, and then they're just feeding all of the trump cards that you want for the perfect end game hand. It's gone over to our attack here, and we're going to drop these kings to be able to work them out, and we're going to try and demand Igor to waste some trump cards or pick them up, because we want to be able to draw into more trump cards, which we have. This hand is starting to look amazing. Because Igor picked him up, we are keeping our attack here, and we're just going to play Ace of Spades. He's going to have to play a trump card, and he does. Trump of 6. So we like to see his trump cards go away into the discard pile or into our hand. He's going to hit us back with all of the kings. It's still kind of early in the game. We can either drop our 3 trump cards or we can pick these up. I'm going to say that we take them back into our hand. Hello, kings. I still think that it was advantageous for us to attack with all of those kings together because it allowed us to draw into this slew of trump cards. Being able to put a number of new cards into our hand let us kind of fish through the deck to be able to find the trumps that we wanted. And now that we have them, we can piecemeal use the kings as blockers while Igor is still drawing other cards. I kind of want to see if we can force Igor to spend some more trump cards here. Whenever he does that animation, he is creating a new trump card, but he chose not to spend it there to block the king, wanting to take the king instead. What does he do over here? He just wants to pick these up. He's building the set of kings back against us. We'll play the 7. There is the king. So the kings will slowly get weeded out of the deck. Unfortunately, this 8 is a very weak card here. This 10 is also pretty weak. There's still a little bit of time left in the deck, so I'm okay with taking this. not choosing to spend a trump card just yet. There's the king. We were holding the ace to make sure that we had the higher card. So we'll block those. Now it's back to us, trying to get rid of these really weak cards here. He opened up, blocking with the 10, which allows us to play our other 10, which is extremely fortunate. That was exactly what we wanted to get rid of. And then he actually did not have a blocker, so he picks it up there. Very nice turn of events for us. This 6 is an absolute loser. So we're going to get rid of that. Igor coming at us with a pair of 10s. One of them being trump. It is tempting to try and pick this up. We're on turn 17, which is a pretty long game because there's been a lot of cards picked up rather than blocked. Ooh, we'll take it. We have a pair. We have a pair of trump 10s because of Igor's card manipulations. Now here we're able to spend our non-trumps very happily. Ooh. He throws out the ace. So this is the as the highest trump card, guaranteed to make your opponent take that hand. Really forcing us to have a big hand going here into the final turns, because there's only one card left. We're going to have to be very careful how we navigate these final few plays. Now, I could play the ace in kind here, but I'm actually going to drop our 6 of trump to block. He opens up another trump card, but we can block that fairly easily. We have an enormous hand here. Now, giving him all of these multiple attacks is pretty dangerous because the tiny hand size on his side is going to come around to bite us. And we cannot afford to take this hand ourselves. So we block the jack with the queen, and then the 7 we're going to have to block with another trump card. He drew the final trump card, so we are definitely in a pinch here to be able to see this out. But we can still manage to play this to our advantage, I believe. How many trump cards do we think he's holding? With only 3 cards there. And how big are they? We know that the final card he drew doesn't beat these 10s. So we can play out our 3 10s. And he will be forced to take this, which means that we keep the initiative. We lay down the pair of aces, which has the highest card in the game, which he cannot block. It is impossible to block this card. So he has to take those, and then because we had left with a pair, we're able to play them together and still win the game. And it's just that easy, guys. You build your hand with sets, aces, trump cards, especially looking for that trump ace, and you should be able to win pretty much every time. I'm going to say every time. I haven't lost trying to following that mentality. Now let's swing over to 3-handed Durak while things get really chaotic and it is a little bit more confusing where the lead for attack goes, but I'm going to talk you through it. And winning 3-handed is actually even easier because you just have to be one of the 2 characters that goes out. You lose if you are still holding cards at the very end, but there's basically 2 winners and only 1 loser. So it's actually easier to win 3-handed Durak. The nuance that you want to look at here is that if you win on attack, so you are attacking the character to the left. So old Igor is going to attack Nikolay. Nikolay will attack us, and we will attack old Igor. The kind of odd man out is just piling on the attack. So Igor is attacking, Nikolay is taking, but because this was a 7, we can match the 7, and these are all going to go over to Nikolay. Now in 2-handed Durak, old Igor just won an attack. Normally, in the 2-handed variant, he would be able to continue to attack, but it actually passes over to us to be able to balance out who is playing. So kind of if you're the odd man out, you get into play. Otherwise, there would be a situation where, like, at the end of the game, old Igor, if he can beat Nikolay, can just go out extremely easily. But this way, it kind of slows things down by having to pass over to us. So now it's actually us attacking Igor. And then if Nikolay had successfully blocked, then he would be able to attack, which is the normal play in 2-handed. I hope that isn't too confusing the way I explained it, but that is how it works. If you play it a few times, you get used to the rhythm. We're just going to throw out the 6 as a loser here. Hope that Nikolay maybe has a match. He doesn't, but Ooh, the 8, but with that 8 is our trump card, so we don't want to play that yet. Old Igor successfully blocked, so he gets lead. I'm going to call that out and why he gets it a couple times, and hopefully that makes it make more sense. So Nikolai took the card. Igor was successful in his attack. That means it passes over to our lead. We want to drop the 9. Our hand is thoroughly uninspiring right now. Blocked with the 10. Nikolai has a 10 to pile on the attack against Igor. We have a 10 to pile on against Igor. And because he blocked with a jack as well, we want to get rid of this jack. Just give them all over to Igor. So this is where I am saying that it gets way more chaotic in three-handed because there's all these extra cards held on that get matched to what is used to block and attack. Here we would be picking up... Oh no, we can block that with the ace. Yeah, we want to block that with the ace. Ooh, and 2 more aces. Okay. So now we're going to be picking up a whole handful of cards, but we have pretty excellent cards, kings and aces. So we're going to take those. Igor attacking Nikolai here. Pair 10s. And what an attack. Queens come out. All 4 10s are in play. Well, what if we make all 4 queens? Wait. Oh, yeah. This is all piling on to attack. I don't want to give up my trump. I'll hold on to the trump queen. Thank you very much. Now it's our turn to attack. We don't necessarily like this jack. Ooh, this 7. The 7 is the weak link in our hand for sure. Ooh, opening up the 8 again, but we still want to hold on to our trump card. That exchange ends up being just between them. This is a situation where, because we hold so many aces, it's unlikely another ace will come in for us to be able to pile on to an attack. And the same thing with the kings, because a few kings I believe were blocked. If you're good at card counting, you're going to be very good at Durak here. I am not very good at card counting. This unfortunately breaks our aces, but I think we do it. Just so that we don't have to pick up the cards. Now, games of three-handed end much faster than two-handed, so you're usually looking at much earlier turn counts for when it's going to reach the end game. This is still coming against us, and it's becoming pretty dangerous to pick up. So, we want to try our very best to block. We're going to send out the king as a blocker, and we're going to send out... Oh no. We're going to start sending out the trump cards. I don't want to take all this. Maybe I timed that too early because there's still one more card to draw. We get to attack here, and our hand is not looking that great for the end game. We have the pair aces, which is nice. That is nice. And then we do have one trump card here. Because we attack, we're going to be able to draw this trump card as well, which makes us pretty happy. And then Igor is the one that we really want at a disadvantage because he's the one who can manufacture those additional trump cards. Now this attack coming against us, when you're at the end game, you have to be able to block if you can. Ooh, throwing out the 9. And more hearts? Why are you hitting me with more hearts? Okay. This would be suicide. I mean, it's absolute death if we picked up all those cards here at the very end of the game. So we have to block. Goes over to our turn. We have the smallest hand size, but we only have diamonds. Only have diamonds, and... Ooh. I don't like this. This could come around to us still losing at the end because of all of the trumps that we spent. With one card, we should be able to make it, right, guys? Okay. Yes, here it is. This is where the rules of 3-player... Nope, it's going to be Nikolai attacking us. Okay, so this is the dangerous one. He plays a king of spades. He gives us a trump? You give me trump? You're at the end? This is going to be a very tight game. I'm super excited. Okay. Successfully blocked. No one has gone out yet. Everybody's hands have dwindled down to basically nothing. Nikolai goes out. We block with the trump card. The successful block. So like I said, there's 2 winners and 1 loser. Nikolay is one of the winners now. Now it's whoever goes out first between me and Igor to determine winner or loser. But with a successful block, we take the initiative, play our last loser card, and we still win, even though we were short on trumps and we kind of spent all our trump cards, I think, a little too early. But there we go. That's Durak for you. Hopefully this guide cleared up any questions you might have had with the rules and also the strategy that you need to be able to beat the demons themselves in gambling matches, and maybe you can even out-gamble the devil. Thanks for watching, and good luck out there, guys.